Liana Rosenthal, a neurologist at Johns Hopkins, describes which ones are known to be problematic.
Parapet increases the risk of PD by 150%. It continues to be used. Another chemical exposure is something called trichloroethylene, or TCE. This leads to a 500% increased risk of Parkinson's disease. It's a long list of occupations. Dry cleaners is one in particular, painters, electronic manufacturers, computer specialists, and then there's a whole bunch of commercial and consumer uses, adhesives, carpet cleaners, decaffeinated coffee, refrigerants, stain removers, wood finishes.
Rosenthal says a recent ban on TCE will help in the future to reduce PD risk relative to exposure. At Johns Hopkins, I'm Elizabeth Tracy.
We're News Radio WGNS 100.5, 101.9, 1450. Online and on your phone at wgnsradio.com. From the tallest tower in the city limits of Murfreesboro to every radio in the land, WGNS AM FM is everywhere you need us to be. CBS Radio News. We're the Good Neighbor Network. FM 101.9 and AM 1450 Murfreesboro. FM 100.5 Smyrna. Audio and video streaming at wgnsradio.com. This is the Roundtable. A look at the news, views, politics, and people that are shaping Rutherford County.
Welcome in. I'm Andy Herzer, founder and executive director of First Shot. In today with me is Kenneth Barrett, his daughter Kylie, and we're going to let you talk a little, Kylie, too. I found it very fascinating off air. Kenneth, but first of all, the first question I ask anybody that sits in a chair that's running, why?
Yes, sir. I've been in the Sheriff's Department for 28 years. I started when I was 20 years old in corrections. I'm also a second-generation deputy. My dad started in 78, which he passed away in 05. So it's put food on my table my whole entire life. I love the community, love the agency. And over the years, I'm doing a lot of interesting things at Sheriff's Department, narcotics, interstate interdiction, crimes suppression, K-9. Those things, hands-on. Then I started moving through the ranks. Now I'm a senior lieutenant on patrol. So I got to see the hands-on side and the leadership side. I've always said I wanted to be the sheriff and just never really thought it would happen. I almost ran in 22, but we own a medical clinic out in Walter Hill. It was right in the middle of COVID, so my wife was extremely busy, seeing about 50 to 70 patients every single day, coming home stressed out. We talked about it and prayed on it. Just timing wasn't right, and I thought I'd just get my years in and retire and go do something totally different. And her business stabled out, and now she can be by my side. My girls are older. That was another thing we considered. I have a 15-year-old also, and timing's just a lot better this year, and we decided to run, and I think I can make the Sheriff's Department better, communicate with the community better, and just try to take us to the next level. We need to be one of the best agencies in the state, and that's the direction I want to take it.
And I was talking to you off air a little bit. I think if it's not the most important position in our county, it's one of the top two. County mayor, sheriff. And so with that responsibility, what are some of the differences from policing today versus 10, 15 years ago?
Exactly. Technology is huge. We use technology more and more. 15 years ago, it was out and stopping cars all the time, and the hands-on part out, especially on the interstate. And now we have so much access with technology, and really helps our detectives out. And COVID changed a lot for law enforcement, even police officers. The media had law enforcement scared that you called it, and you could possibly die, which you can, but everybody backed off. People were staying at home. They wasn't going to work. So the people that was on the streets, they started driving faster, and we got to start building that perception back. We got to go out and start enforcing traffic laws, stopping cars. And that's one thing. Once you get in a habit of laying back and maybe letting something slide, now you got to start rebuilding that, where you'll start stopping it. Instead of being reactive, we got to start back being proactive. It all goes back into your initial training and what's expected out of you, expectations for the deputies, and that's where we got to go with it. It's changed so much, and COVID was a big part of those changes for law enforcement.
So I sit here and I see your beautiful daughter that's going to be a med student next year. Raising good kids in today's world's not easy, and especially with all that's going on our streets. So talk about how you and your wife have raised these two wonderful kids.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's my pride for sure. We try to teach them, just be humble, be honest, be who you are, just make your own way, and just tell them you love them. I think it's something that families don't do enough, is just hugs and kisses and tell them you love them and point them in the right direction. You got to let people make mistakes to learn, but you also got to correct them. They got to know it's something there. If you do make the mistake, you got to own it and take care of it. The consequences to every decision you make out there. And they both my kids are great. Like I said, she graduated MTSU, getting ready to start med school. And I said in one of my debates, do your research. And I wasn't just talking about law enforcement. I was talking about how you live your life, how you raise your family, just how you treat people your whole life, not just during this campaign. To me and Jennifer, we've been friends since with kids. We've known each other our whole life, and we may not see each other for years, for a while, but we're still friends, and it's just the way we treat each other and the way we communicate with the community. I think that's one reason we have such great support in this county, is people know, I've been born and raised here, that I've always tried to treat people with the respect and just being a humble person, and no matter where you're at in your life, you always got to stay humble. So with you saying that, being humble, what's going to be your leadership style? Because you're going to have to get in and fight. Mm-hmm. You're going to have to fight the county commission to get what you need, and right, yes, and fight sometimes brings on a negative kind of connotation, but it's not. To me, I'm an ex-basketball coach. I fought every day, right, to win games. You're going to have to fight to win too. Talk about how you're going to do that. Well, the way I look at my leadership style is a servant leadership, and I'm not just talking about inside for the deputies. It's being a servant to the community. Just always having an open ear, being approachable to the community, and I think just presenting things to the county commission and to the mayor, having a plan together that your financial guy or your chiefs we can sit down and communicate and build that plan to show the county why we need what we're asking for. And I think that's something we've struggled in the past, and not wait till the last minute. It's communication through the whole year to start building a plan that we can actually reach with the county commission without raising taxes, and come up with ideas, and all of us work together, say, hey, yes, this is what we need. I'm wanting to put out a monthly release, I will put out a monthly release either by podcast or social media to show the community this is what Rutherford County Sheriff's Department has done. And then as we're building this plan throughout the year with the county commissioners, hopefully my plan is the community will contact their county commissioner, say, hey, these guys are out doing a great job. If they're asking for this is what they need. Let's work with them and try to get it for them. Yes, sir.
So when you look at that leadership style, and you know it because you were boots on the ground.
Yes, sir.
And my son-in-law was boots on the ground, and he came in sometimes just looking like he'd gone through a war. Mm-hmm. Talk about what that's like for our sheriff's deputies. I had a ride along. I told the guy when I was done I'm never going to get in a police car again. Right? It's spooky, and especially on night shift. So kind of talk and let our audience know what it really feels like to be that boots on the ground in Rutherford County today.
Yes, sir. The call volume has went up tremendously, even from when your son-in-law was at the Sheriff's Department. And people don't realize what all takes place in Rutherford County. I always say people live in a little bubble. As long as that little bubble is safe, everything's okay. They don't realize we may have a robbery 2 miles away, or any type of serious crime, which is happening all the time in Rutherford County now. That's the reason I want to do that release. And one thing I want to do is start a chaplain with a peer support twist, chaplain peer support. That way the deputies have a release. I say people has a cup, and everybody's cup fills up at a different point. You got to be able to pour a little bit of that out. Now to give the deputies someone to talk to when they go to a bad scene, they can go and open up to them. But just coming home after a shift, a lot of times you got to work overtime because the money's not there. You got to support for your family, and it's very, very stressful if you don't have someone to talk to. And you got to give the sheriff's department, you got to be clear-minded, while you're at work, give us 100%, and then when you're off, you got to give your family 100%. And you got to find a way, hobbies and hanging out with your family, to be able to make that release. You can't be a police officer 24/7. You are a police officer 24/7, but you got to have that release. You got to have other things to do to get your mind off of it. If not, you'll burn yourself out, for one, and number two, you'll make your life miserable and your family's life miserable. So you got to really have a good balance there, and it takes a long time for deputies to figure that, and it takes the older mentors to let them know that when you're off, don't always be thinking about sheriff's department. Don't always be talking about law enforcement. Most of my friends, they're not police officers. I got a lot of friends that are linemen and do different things, does anything else, and that way I can ask them questions about what they're doing instead of always turning into, hey, what'd y'all do this weekend?
But it's a normal thing for people that aren't in it to want to ask an officer.
Yes.
Man, what was that like?
Yes. And we don't have as many pursuits nowadays as we used to, just because the population's grown so much, and it takes a real serious crime for us to actually be involved in pursuits nowadays, which back when I was on the interstate, it was constant, and people would hear about it and they'd want to talk about the pursuit. And at that time I was a young guy, young police officer, and I was like, heck, this is exactly what's taking place, and it was fun to talk about. Then over time you realize it's just consuming you, and you got to break away and realize that you got to find other things to talk about. But yeah, if you're from the outside looking in, it's super exciting. That's what makes law enforcement fun, because you can be sitting here at a church parking lot typing a report, and the tones go off, and next thing you know, you're running emergency traffic to one of the wildest things you've ever seen in your life, and you see things that I would hope nobody would have to see, and you got to figure out a way to clear that out.
Well, on my ride along, what I came away with that young guy that was, and I wish I could remember his name, but I'm old and I'm forgetful. His skill to talk down, not down at them, but talk him down out of the position they were in, was amazing to me, and how he did it. And I mean, alcohol was involved in it, and when alcohol was involved, he said, you need to back off, go back to the car. And he's because he said you never know what they're going to do when alcohol's involved. Right. So kind of talk about, these guys were out there lone rangers by themselves.
Yes, sir.
On an island.
Yes, sir.
How do we prevent that, or can we from now? I mean, because he didn't call for backup. It was him.
Right. And I think that's another thing through this campaign that I've learned, that a lot of people, we've kept everything so tight, and the community doesn't know exactly what we're doing. I run my shift with about 8 or 9 deputies on average. Every now and then I may have 10, sometimes 11 if nobody's taking vacation or training. So yeah, you're out there with 8 or 9 guys working that shift that night, and you have a call disorderly or drunk or whatever, and you have to learn really, really quickly how to de-escalate and talk to a person without getting them fired up. And that's when you know your training is going good, your supervisors are doing exactly what they're doing, they're out monitoring and reviewing and just assisting and teaching them that. And that's where working in corrections is huge, because you're in with the inmates and talking with them. You learn how to communicate a lot better at their level. And like you said, sometimes you're back up maybe 15 minutes away, coming across the whole county to get to you. So you learn, instead of having to get physical with someone, you learn to talk and de-escalate and try to make it happen with words versus being physical.
So Kenneth, when I look at this, man, he went away for a lot of training, my son-in-law. So I have some weak knowledge. Talk about the training and what it cost us as a county to train one officer.
I can't really put a number exactly on just one officer, how much it costs, but we can't spend enough on it. I mean, training is where it's at. If they need that type of training, if that's where they're weak in, we need to send them. And that's my goal is to do, I do a yearly eval with each person on my shift to find out what their goals are, just to help them out. And sometimes this year they may say, I want to go to the detective division. So I try to send them to schools more investigative in to help them with their career, to get them where they want to go. And maybe the following year they're still on patrol and they say, well, I think I would like to be in a leadership role through patrol. So then I start sending them to more leadership classes, try to get them signed up. But any type of extended training you can get for them, whether it's just on roadside from a guy that's been doing it 28 years, I can walk up, as long as it's not violating the law or endangering someone, I'll let them take care of their business and come up to them afterwards and meet them at a gas station or something, have a cup of coffee and say, hey, have you ever thought about trying it this way? Have you ever done it a different way? Just give them that little bit of knowledge and not beat them down, but give them a little critique to let them know, hey, try this. It may help out. But, yeah, we do a great job. Our training has come a long ways over the years. We can always get better, but we try to definitely get our guys in the best training possible.
Well, I look at it, I know it's expensive to just train one. Talk about the retention. Right? I mean, and part of it is having good leaders.
Yes, sir. The retention is huge. A lot of people talk about recruiting, and recruiting is very important, especially at the point we're at right now. But you have to be able to retain. That's when you have a lot invested in your deputies, and they're starting to move forward, and they're starting to become really good deputies at some point. So you have to value, number one, you got to value your employees. Treat them, whether you're a corrections guy, or patrolman, detective, or whoever, their job's important. Every job's super important. So you got to value them and let them know that you care for them, you're going to help them, you're going to get them the training they need to reach their level they want to be at. And number two is the community's got to know if you want the best out here in Rutherford County to come to your house or come to your family's house when they're needed. That's when we get called. When someone needs us, that's when we show up. And to have the best, we got to start treating our employees like they're the best. The Rutherford County Sheriff's Department, we're one of the biggest in the state, so it's time for us to start communicating and letting everyone know that we got to move forward, and to have the best officer deputies, we got to start training them and getting them the training they need.
Well, I'm going to beg to put one more thing in there. To retain them, we have to pay them. And we got to pay them what they're worth. And you got to look around the other counties that we could lose them to. Metro, Williamson County. The pay has to match their surrounding area.
Exactly. And the pay is huge. And we compete with Murfreesboro, Metro, Nashville, Smyrna, Franklin, Brent Meade, Highway Patrol. That's the people we lose deputies to that want to stay in law enforcement when they leave, and because they are making quite a bit more money than us. And we still have a retirement, so if they go to an agency that does have a 401k, you can figure in like 6% to a 401k, and that's what they should be doing. So my goal would be get us between the 6% and 10% of those agencies, and to stay competitive across the board. A lot of times we just look at starting pay, but starting pay, yeah, that's attractive to new people that's looking to come into law enforcement, but it's got to be across the board, because when you start losing deputies with 5-10 years experience, their liability is down here, not up here. I always say the 1 to 3 year deputy liability is high because they're out learning the job, they're making decisions. Chance of them making a bad decision is higher than someone else. Than the 3 to 5 year deputy, their liability is kind of stabling out. They're making good decisions, they're still learning daily, but their liability is here. But that 5 to 10 year deputy, the ones that really you're invested in, but that's where the pay difference really starts happening between these other agencies. That's when it starts hitting that 15, 20 $20,000 mark between a lot of these agencies and their liabilities here. So we're super invested. Usually they're in either a leadership role or a detective at this point. We've sent them through lots of training, spent lots of money on them. So we got to put a value on each one of them people and monthly say, hey, we lost these many guys with this much years experience. How much did that cost Rutherford County? And the money we can save on that by paying them a little more money and keeping them there, retaining them. And it goes back to leadership also. It's not just about money. People will work for a little less money as the leadership's good and the culture's good, but $15,000 and you're trying to live in Rutherford County where, you know, everything's super expensive, it's hard. We have a lot of deputies that live outside of Rutherford County.
So when you say live outside, they have to go to Bedford, they have to go to Coffee, they got to go to Cannon.
DeKalb, Cannon, Bedford, yes.
So when you look at that, what's the negative for them not living in the community to you?
I think just dealing with the community, just being out. When, you know, if you live in Bedford County, you're going to do most of your shopping in Bedford County. You're going to stop at their gas stations. That's who you're going to communicate with. If you live in Rutherford County, every time you stop to get fuel, you're going to talk to somebody there. You're going to make a contact with somebody else that lives right here in Rutherford County, and they may have a question for you or recognize you from being on a call or being a police officer. And that just being involved in the community is huge. And I think that's me being born and raised here my whole life. That's something that I've always done. Try to go to events and ball games. You meet a lot of people just stopping in a high school basketball game, and it's just a contact that people really respect when you're not interacting with them in an official setting where somebody's needing law enforcement. If you're communicating with them when it's just normal, you're a regular human being, and just they realize who you are and what you're about.
You know, you just said something going to ball games, and now, I mean, the parents are, to me, I go to ball games and I'm shaking my heads in the stands at the parents versus the players, right? You know, talk about the sheriff's department come alongside schools, SRO officers. What commitment do you have to it, and what do you see needs to improve?
I think it's huge. Probably one of the best programs we've ever started at the Sheriff's Department is the SRO program, and we're only going to get stronger with it. The schools are growing, the population's growing, so the more SROs you can have in the schools, the better. It's a great feeling to drop your kids off at that school and know your SRO from going to a ball game or him interacting with you somewhere, and you know if something happens that day at that school, he's going to take care of business. Well trained. We can just keep getting better with the SRO program, and I think that they go out here and they meeting these children either in elementary school, middle school, or high school. I sat in on a large portion of our interviews, and usually it's like, well, what made you interested in law enforcement? And a lot of times they'll say, my SRO did this for me when I was in, 7th grade or something. And they I really respected it. He treated me, fair and consistently. And so that kind of molded his thoughts that, hey, I may want to be a police officer where I can help people out in our community.
Well, we're going to take a break and be right back with Kenneth Barrett, running for Rutherford County Sheriff.
When it comes to your child's health,
you want care that's close, convenient,
and centered around the needs of your family.
At MMC Pediatrics, we're more than just doctors.
We're partners in your parenting journey.
Here for every growth spurt,
for every boo-boo,
every fever, and every flu.
Our team approach means that your child always sees someone that knows them.
We are MMC Pediatrics.
We are right beside you,
every step of the way.
I'll be right there.
takes all of us to power a community, both in plain sight and behind the scenes. Middle Tennessee Electric, bringing good energy.
Hi, I'm Clarissa Smith, candidate for School Board Zone 4. I believe parents are the primary authority in their children's lives. On the board, I'll be your advocate, ensuring transparency, respecting your values, and putting our students first. Let's work together to make our schools the best they can be. I'm Clarissa Smith, humbly asking you for your vote for School Board Zone 4.
Paid for by Friends of Clarissa Smith, School Board Zone 4. Clarissa Smith, Treasurer.
What if opening a checking account came with a perk? At South Central Bank, our popular Green Tree checking account now comes with more added value. That's right, things like cell phone protection, telehealth, roadside assistance, fuel savings, and enhanced identity theft support are all part of Green Tree checking. No hassle, no stress, just perks for doing something you were going to do anyway. Stop by any South Central Bank branch or visit us online at southcentralbank.com. Banking with rewards. South Central Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Hi, this is Wanda Mills, and I'm here to invite you to come and visit Adam's Place. I love to read, and there's a monthly book club that meets and enjoys a current book. There's always something going on. We have a lot of country music, symphonies and chorus and jazz, so we all enjoy the variety.
I'd love to give you a tour of Adam's Place. Adam's Place on Memorial across from Walmart.
This is Good Neighbor Events with Bart Walker. Brought to you by the law offices of John Day and AmeriCare Pest Control.
This is a paid legal ad.
When a family member is lost as a result of someone else's negligence, the grief can be unbearable. It also leaves you with a lot of questions like, how did this happen? Who's responsible? And is my family going to be okay? That's a lot to go through, but with the law offices of John Day on your side, you don't have to go through any of it alone. We understand what you're going through, and we have the experience to get the answers, justice, and compensation your family deserves. Call the law offices of John Day.
Now, Good Neighbor Events. Here's Bart Walker.
The Rutherford County Heart Walk is this Saturday. The check-in is at 8 o'clock Saturday morning, and the walk begins at 9:30. That's at Murfreesboro Medical Clinic on Garrison Drive. Let's get behind the Heart Walk. You can register at rutherfordheartwalk.org. Again, the Heart Walk is this Saturday morning at Murfreesboro Medical Clinic. Thursday of next week, not this week, but next week, April 23rd, the Tennessee Philharmonic's final concert of the 44th season, Rhapsody in Red, White, and Blue, a celebration of 250 years of America. Get your tickets online now through the Tennessee Philharmonic Orchestra. Again, that's Thursday of next week, April 23rd, 7 o'clock at Bel Air Baptist Church. There's a free grief support group meeting every Wednesday morning at 10 over at the St. Clair Senior Center here in Murfreesboro. That's at 325 St. Clair Street in Murfreesboro. That's every Wednesday morning at 10. Those are WGNS Good Neighbor events.
Rutherford weather.
Overcast skies today with a slight chance for showers. Highs level off around 82. Tonight, lows level off around 64. I'm meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki on News Radio WGNS. Right now, it's 68 degrees.
WGNS is powered by Middle Tennessee Electric. Since 1936, MTE has provided the reliable service and peace of mind we count on. Manage your account anytime at MTE.com or through the MyMTE app.
This is the Roundtable from News Radio WGNS on FM 101.9 and AM 1450 Murfreesboro, FM 100.5 Smyrna. Listen and watch at wgnsradio.com.
Welcome back in. I'm Andy Herzer, founder and president of First Shot. My shameless plug. We have our summer camps, ages 7 to 14, the 29th of June through July 2nd at Middle Tennessee Christian School. And then our age 5 to 9 is the 6th through the 10th at Hooptown. And more information will be coming through Brian Barrett here at WGNS. So I'll thank him ahead of time. Kenneth, I'm going to ask your daughter. You've been through this now. You've graduated. You're getting ready to go to medical school. But the year that you've been in school and you've had to go through this campaign, what's it been like for you as his daughter?
Yeah, and we were talking a little bit during the break about why Dad chose to run. I remember the week that he said, I'm going to run for sheriff, and I said, are you sure? And he was like, yes, I am sure. And I was like, okay, let's do this. But in that time, I was about to, I think I had already taken the MCAT, or I was in the middle of it. So we drove down to Memphis, and that was like our first break since he had started. And Dad has just stayed supportive through, I think, actually taking breaks to talk about me going to school and stuff. Yes, it's sad that I'm leaving, but we're still a family, and that's always our top priority. If you want to test your family, I think be in politics. It's not for everybody, but things that have happened, good, bad, ugly, Mom and Dad always say, our family comes first no matter the outcome in May and August. So that's been really cool to see. And just driving around town and people being like, I know you. I don't know them.
It'll get worse when your dad gets elected to sheriff, because again, I think it's probably, if not the most important spot, it's one of the top 2 spots in our county, and of what goes on and how we live as citizens. So again, I want to wish you great success in medical school.
Thank you.
I've enjoyed getting to meet you this morning.
I'm excited. And one cool thing that we've learned is I didn't realize how much goes on in Rutherford County. Events, how many churches we have, and just things that I never even knew that I'll keep going to, that I just encourage everybody to go get involved and go on. We find a lot of stuff on Facebook, just people posting events. Go to them. You'll have more fun than you think.
So here's a 21-year-old that just told us all as adults to get more involved in our county, because there's really more cool things out there than there are bad things. But no one talks about the cool things. They just want to talk about the bad things.
Right.
But give us a little update on the college. I thought that was unique.
So I graduated from MTSU in December with a degree in biochemistry, and then in July I go to University of Pikeville, which is Eastern Kentucky. I'm going to be an osteopathic physician. There's only 10,000 people that live in Pikeville, Kentucky. So we were talking that it's just a very underserved population, which I'm excited about. They do free clinics, so that's what I'm most looking forward to.
Well, again, I want to wish you best of luck. And again, she's the smartest person in the room. Sorry, Jen.
Don't listen to him. I'm in full agreement.
But
Jennifer, close second.
It's just amazes me. Again, it's like she said, Kenneth, going back. Really, this county is a great county to live in.
It is.
When I got fired from coaching, I decided to stay because I thought it was a great county. So 100%. Talk about how you're going to integrate more of your policing in those, so that everybody can understand all the good stuff that's going on with the sheriff's department. I think we don't know. I don't know.
Right. It's transparency is huge, and that's something I think we can always get better at. We've never been great at it, and like I said, I want to do a monthly release to let everybody know, but I want to really push the deputies, not just patrolmen, detectives, SROs, corrections guys, have them places they can go interact with the community, let them know, it's got to be easy for people. So if you make it, hey, this event's taking place here, let them know that, hey, stop by, interact with your community, find out. You can meet a lot of cool people, and some of those folks can help you out, and you may not even realize it. We went to a lot of the nonprofits, I think pretty much all nonprofits here in Rutherford County since this campaign has started, and they really want to help out with the sheriff's department, but just getting involved, getting that foot in the door is the hard part for them. And that's what I want to do is really work with them and try to let them assist and help our inmates out. And a lot of them just need know someone cares about them to reach out and kind of get them started when they're released from the jail, where they can be productive out into the community. And I think our nonprofits are going to be huge for that, to help us help them, to stay in contact once a week or once every other week to say, hey, how are you doing? Are you still on track? And maybe some business owners can help us out also. And if they learn a trade, get them a job. That way they're not starting from nothing. That way they can provide for the families and, like I said, be productive in our community.
Yeah, I mean, I again, God's grace and mercy for me. He has forgiven me so many times, and I think we forget about that. But it's going to take an effort. Good friend of mine, I started a nonprofit. I understand the work that I thought would maybe diminish, but it's grown. It hasn't diminished in our world. So Men of Valor, and there are a lot of great prison ministries.
Yes.
My dad disappeared every Sunday. He was a Gideon. He went in and taught God's word to prisoners. So, I mean, the more we do all that stuff, how, from a legal standpoint, how does that take place? Because we're so concerned about someone coming after us. And the sheriff's department in our county gets it probably the worst. Right. And you're probably the most vulnerable.
Right. Yeah, and I think that's, if you can get ministry work inside the jail with the inmates while they're off the drugs, they're off the alcohol, and you're talking to them, they're thinking clear, you're not going to save 100%, but if you can just get one or two here and there and get them in the right direction and keep them from reoccurring and coming back to jail or committing crimes, you've done a great job. And that's where it takes all of us to make that happen. And thank you for your father doing that. I know it took time away from the family, but he was out helping someone, or lots of guys, they're incarcerated, and that's when you can get through to them at that point. And it's all about caring for people. They made a bad choice. They're paying their consequences. Leave them with dignity. How can I help you make yourself a better person, and not educate them on how not to make those same decisions again. I still have people calls me right now that's been in jail that, hey, you've done a great job. Sometimes they'll call and say, hey, the devil's trying to get me. My old friends are reaching out. They want me to go do this with them or whatever. And then they'll say I'm pushing them off. I said, don't let the devil get you. Keep moving forward. Keep doing what's right, and you know what's right. And it's just all of us are human, and all of us make mistakes. And some get caught, some don't get caught. But the main thing is just treat them like you want to be treated. That's the biggest thing I think people forget, is they look down on somebody because they might be broke or poor or alcoholic or drug user. But you treat them right, they're going to respect you for it. And you try to bring them up, don't push them down. And that's what the deputies need to know, whether they're corrections officer or patrolman or whatever. You always treat people the way you want to be treated. I always tell my guys, like, if you don't want your mama talk to that way, your wife talk to that way, your daughter talk to that way, don't talk to anybody else that way. It's just a rule of thumb. Just, hey, this is the way we're going to treat people. And you start building that perception that you're wearing Rutherford County Sheriff's Department uniform, you're going to treat people right. And it starts car number one, sheriff, all the way down to the bottom deputy. And if that's what's expected out of them, you set that standard, and you'll get there.
So talk about, I guess, real kind of maybe equipment needs to stay cutting edge in this day and age of technology.
Yes, we have a lot of good equipment. Our patrol cars, back when I started, if you had something under 100,000 miles, man, you was doing something. And now we get new patrol cars in, and you have to really search for somebody that's got a high mileage car, which is great because we can roll those cars down into our SRO division or wherever they need to go for other people. But I really want to start building on crime analysis, where we can do real-time crime mapping and have that on our website and social media area where the general public can look and say, okay, this happened in this area. These types of crimes are here. And plus, it helps our deputies out where they can look and say, all right, we need to really focus in on this here, this area. And if we have, a lot of times we'll have somebody get in pursuit and they'll run off on foot. We have real-time crime mapping. We can release that out to the community. Say, hey, this is a description of the guy. This is why you're seeing all these patrol cars in your neighborhood. We're looking for him for this reason. And that way you get all the phone calls like, I saw the suspect. And it's got to be real-time to get that information out. All the way down if the interstate's shut down. You can put it out that morning. You wake up, you're going to Nashville to go to work. You can look at your phone and say, okay, I-24 is shut down between these exits. I need to go around. It's going to save everybody time and keep people safer.
All you got to do is put out when it's not, and it'd be only a couple times a day.
Exactly. Yes.
I stay off 24.
I think we just have to be really intentional, keeping the community involved and utilizing our technologies out there. It's going to cost money up front, but all your big agencies are doing real-time crime analysis now, and we call Murfreesboro Police Department all the time to have their assistance, and we should either be working with them or have our own, and that's a goal of mine to get that up and
well,
quickly.
I would think, and again, it's just like city schools and county schools. It should be working together.
Yes.
I mean, we're one county.
Yes.
We got to get away from sheriff and police and
right.
And I also think you got to get equal pay. Just quite honestly, between me and you,
I like the way you think. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I think anytime you have that discrepancy, then you have those separation issues, and I think we got to look at that.
And I think it goes back into communication. Everybody's got to realize that if we want the best, we got to treat them like the best. It goes all the way down to the county commissioner. Make the right decision, and you got to be able to present it to them in a way that everybody understands. Invite them in. Hey, come do a ride along. Come to see what our guys are doing. Make a walkthrough of the jail. Take a little field trip and let's go over and talk to the guys. And that's what you got to do as a sheriff. Also, is to speak with the guys that's out doing the job. I'm a lieutenant. I'm still interact with them every single day, but you still have to listen to that guy that's in corrections, that's unlocking the doors and letting the inmates out dealing with them. What do you think you need to make your job run more efficiently? What can I do to make your job safer for you? And that's what we have to listen to those guys and stay in contact with them, not just stay up the hallway.
My son-in-law felt that the jail was more dangerous than patrolling. He said sometimes quite spooky.
Yes.
Can you allude to, not specifically, but what's the real difference? You said you like to see him start in the jail.
Right. Like I said earlier, it's a controlled environment. You shouldn't have guns in there. You shouldn't have knives or whatever. But then you have inmates there that's all they have is time on their hands to think about a way to make a weapon that can protect them. For one thing, a lot of people are scared. They want something to protect them. Or the other ones are thinking of a way that they can make a weapon to hurt someone. So you got to still be on your toes. You think, well, they're in jail, they're not going to have weapons, but they can always come up with some type of weapon. And it's usually one or two corrections guys to lots of inmates. And so that goes back to trying to treat people right and talk to them right and show dignity. If you're in there trying to be aggressive toward inmates all the time, they're going to get tired of it and they're going to make a stand. Some of those guys don't have anything to lose, so you need to learn how to talk to them and communicate with them, and they can help you also. They can let you know things that's taking place inside the jail that the deputies may not know about.
So you look at how do you build that coalition with your county commissioners? Is there a gap, or do you feel like the county commission really works well with the sheriff department?
I think it's just being open and communicating. And You got to work together. I know we can't just walk in and say, hey, we want to match Murfreesboro's pay. We want to match Highway Patrol pay. It's all about communication and having meetings where you can look at the numbers and see what we can do. Nobody wants their taxes to go up, but if you say, all right, well, we were asking for this and your taxes are going to go up this much, actually put a number on it to, all right, it's going to go up $50 a month, but you're going to get this. And a lot of times the community, if you're being open and transparent with everybody, it's like, okay, for $50 a month, we get more police officers, or we're getting this unit, or we're paying them more, and so we're going to be able to retain these deputies, and we're not spending this money by retraining new deputies that their experience is lower and the chances of them having liability is higher. So I think it just goes back in communication with the county commissioners, being up front, asking them to come, to have buy-in. A lot of people just won't buy in to what's taking place and let them know why we need it. I've talked to several county commissioners during this campaign, and it's a lot of things that is being done that a lot of them don't even realize that this is taking place, and I think it's just something that needs to be talked about.
So I know that there's change coming. So in that, what are you going to change in your first year?
Great question. First thing you got to change is the culture and the morale. You got to change to a very positive culture and start building that morale up. You're going to come in working under this year's budget. Take office September. So you got a full year that you're going to be working under the budget of the prior administration. And so you got to have people from the sheriff down to the deputy that has the same vision, the same plan. You got to set standards and expectations, and everybody's got to hold each other to that. It's all about being accountable, holding people accountable for that. You got to know your weaknesses. Everybody's got to know that I'm not the smartest guy in the room, so I got to build people around me. I don't want a bunch of yes men sitting in the chief's position saying, yeah, Sheriff, that's a great idea. If it's not a great idea, I want them to say, hey, we need to sit down and talk about this and think. Ultimately, it's going to come down to the sheriff to make that decision, but that's just the way I live my life. I know that every decision I make is not right, and I'll own up to it and say, hey, I was wrong, you was right, let's use your idea and move forward. And like I said earlier, it's communication with the county commission, the mayor, the deputies, the chiefs, and getting ideas from maybe the bottom guy or just a person out in the community that said, have y'all thought about doing this? I'm like, no, we haven't thought about that. It's something that somebody from the outside may throw at you that you can take and work with it, and maybe the best idea ever.
So talk about your leadership team, because, I can remember a few years ago before this one, he picked the wrong leadership people around him, and it cost this county dearly. So, again, I think who you choose as your, for me, assistant coach, right, is highly important. Here's what I also tell you that I learned about coaches. They don't like to be told that they're wrong. Mm-hmm. So how are you going to accept your assistants telling you maybe you're not, this is wrong thinking?
Right. You got to evaluate each position. I know leadership, valuing people, being a servant leader, law enforcement, I got that. I know my weaknesses. It's going to be the financial end. I want an expert in the financial end that can evaluate, audit, and see where we may be spending more money in different places that we shouldn't, where we can save money or shuffle it around to a different area where it's going to benefit Rutherford County Sheriff's Department and the community the best. And the jail administrator, that's been 27 years since I was in corrections. I know I'm really going to have to rely on an expert in the jail to someone I trust, and I know they're going to point me in the right direction, and that's what they're good at. But they also got to have the same leadership style. You got to be a servant leader to your deputies, to the inmates, in the same way as your other chiefs. It's all about having that vision and the same leadership styles and being able to communicate with each other and not getting your feelings hurt if somebody tells you you're wrong. and that's it. I know it drives me nuts when you got somebody that thinks they're the smartest guy and always got to have the last word in a room, and all of us have been around people like that. And sometimes you just have to be humble and say, hey, you're right, I was wrong, and let's do it your way. And that's why you have them. That's why you're paying them to be in those positions. That way, if you're out, they can run the show. You don't have to be there. You got to have good experts in those areas to do that.
In this, you've been at it for a lot of years, almost 30. What are the checks and balances that aren't there now that need to be put in place so the department runs really smoothly? You just said good leadership. I get that. That's one check. Right. But what is the balance in this whole thing of how we retain? And I think retention is one of the most important things, because it costs our county dearly when we lose them.
You're exactly right. And it starts, like I said, with the culture and the morale. You got to don't forget where you come from. As a lot of times people will get promoted into certain areas and they just disappear and they're up doing administrative work. It doesn't hurt to stop in a roll call to say, hey, it just goes back to being transparent with the deputies also. Just stand up, hey, this is our plans, this is our ideas, this is the direction we're going to go, this is the equipment we're going to ask for, this is the raises we're going to ask for. It's not a promise, just letting the guys know, because if not, police officers are going to make up their own mind to what's going to take place, and then they'll watch you go in front of the county commission, and that can get kicked down the road again. But you got to ask for it. You got to let them know that you are valuing them and what they're doing is important, and this is what we're going to do to try to help you. But now we got to go to the next step and try to get it beyond that to get it approved. So it's just communicating and talking and valuing your people and being present with them and letting them know that you really appreciate what they're doing day in, day out. And that's what's kept me where I'm at now. It's guys that work for me, I have a lot of support at the Sheriff's Department, and they know my leadership. They know I've been there, I've been hands-on. If they want to know something, they can ask me, and if I don't know the answer, I'll find the answer. And some people with less experience, when it comes to technology, I promise you, I'm probably going to my rookie, how do I do this? You know, he'll get on the computer, and he's like, this is how you do it, Lieutenant. All right, yes, sir, thank you so much. You know, it's just not my...
Well, I hand this to my granddaughter that you see on my phone, right? Because I don't know how to use it. So I look at it. We got a couple of minutes here left before the hour's over. Give them your plead for your vote.
All right. Well, if you vote Kenneth Barrett for sheriff, I promise you, I will be. Everybody's seen how hard I've worked during this campaign. We started January of 2025. You brought it up earlier. Why would you want to do it? It's not about Kenneth Barrett. It's not about Kenneth Barrett being a sheriff. I love the community. I love the agency. I think we can be better. I think we can be the best agency in the state, and that's the direction I want to go, and I want to put people into positions that can help me make us the best in the state, just like we built this campaign team with Jennifer sitting here. She's headed it up, and we got the best team in Rutherford County right now running the campaign, and it shows. So yeah, and so it's just it's about just working together, communicating. And the hard work we're putting in it right now, expect that when we become sheriff. And the people I want to put around us, I want the exact same thing out of them. You can't stay status quo and be very situational. You got to be progressive on what you're doing, move forward, be proactive, not reactive, and you got to start putting that idea into the employees' minds that that's the direction we're going. Then you'll start seeing this change slowly. Like, this is what the boss is wanting, this is where we're going to go, and everybody from the sheriff down start that. And I put my personal number on every card I have, and I did it for a reason. That way, if somebody got a question, they can call me. Some people say, you're crazy, people gonna wear you out, but they have, and I've enjoyed talking to most people. Every now and then you'll get one that's like, oh my goodness, where'd this come from? But for the most part, it's been really good. And being born and raised here, my wife's born and raised here from the south end, I was north end, and she runs the medical clinic that we own. me being a police officer for 28 years, I was like, we know a lot of people in Rutherford County. We know a lot of people. We do know a lot of people. But once we started this campaign, we realized, like, man, we've got introduced to so many people and a lot of cool people. Majority of the people really love this community. They want us to be the best we can possibly be, and they're ready to invest in it. But you got to let them know what you're doing. It's all about communication, and we just got to move forward and start treating our people the best, start treating the community. I always say, if somebody's driving a Rutherford County Sheriff's Department car down the road, if they don't know who's the deputy driving that car, I want them to know, hey, I don't know who he is, but I promise you that guy's well trained and he's going to be top notch.
Kylie, I'm going to give you the last word on this show. Why should they vote for your dad?
I said this a couple weeks ago, but Dad is the same person at home as he is out in the streets. And he is not a politician, which in my opinion is a positive, but you cannot find anybody with greater integrity. And I think through this whole campaign, integrity has been thrown around by a lot of candidates, not just in the sheriff's race, but a lot of people don't even know what that means. And it's, you act the same behind closed doors as you do out in public. So yeah, and I love him.
Well, again, I want to thank all of you for coming in today. I'm Andy Herzer. Have a great week.